All right. Hard to believe that we finished up day 6, so moving fast. Day 7 tomorrow. We'll ramp it up just a little bit more tomorrow with a half scrimmage situation. Today was an all tracking and thud day. Tomorrow we'll get in a little bit alive as well. But good day, and excited about what we've seen to this point with a lot of these guys. We've had some guys with either guys not available for practice or injury or whatever, so it's given some guys maybe more opportunity than they would have gotten. And I think that's something that ultimately in the long run is going to help our team. But again, off to a good start, and looking forward to a great day tomorrow. And it's great to see some of the media out here today for the first time in a long time. So I think that was a real positive thing to be able to see some of y'all that hadn't had a chance to see in person in a while.
Hey, Coach, it's David Hood. In watching you out there with the wide receivers, obviously Justin Ross stands out, but Dakari and Bo, you called them the Collins Towers a couple of weeks ago. Those two guys really, their height, the way that they look stands out. And I see you over there, coaching them. What have you seen out of those two guys so far?
Oh man, they're very smooth athletes. First of all, very polished guys. They're way ahead from from where Joe came in last year. Joe, which we knew was going to be a very raw kid, but he's making some progress. I'm excited about that. But these are two guys that it's obvious that they have a great feel for the game. Both are physically in a good spot. Dakari is a strong young man, and then Bo is got great size. Not quite as big as Dakari, but got great size. But he is silky smooth, and just fundamentally and technically they get it. Easy to coach, and excited about both of them. I mean, they're exactly what you could hope that they would be, especially at this point. So they're way ahead of the curve at that position for mid-year guys. So I'm excited about what I've seen so far.
Hey, Coach, it's Trevor Gross from CUTigers.com. I saw Justin Ross out there fielding punts. Of course, he lost both Amari and DK in that category. What are your impressions of Justin back there? And also Will Shipley was also fielding punts along with your son, Will.
Yeah, Will Brown. We got a bunch of guys, that we've been looking at and kind of rotating through. But Justin is a natural. He really is. He's something that he really wants to work at, and he's very twitchy. He's got great ball skills, and he's got the temperament. Everybody thinks they can do that job, so you got to go do that job. That's a lonely position. But Justin's definitely a guy that'll be in the mix for sure. Assuming that everything goes well the rest of the way through now in the season, and Shipley's the guy. There's going to be 2 or 3 of those young guys that we're evaluating there. But Shipley's definitely a dynamic player. You saw that in high school. I mean, he really does a little bit of everything. But yeah, we got a good group that we're rolling in there.
Dabo, Larry Williams here. I think counted 12 total guys, receivers, tight ends who are 6'3" or taller. Looking toward this season and the future, how different do you think you guys can be just stature-wise in terms of matchups sort of all across the field?
I mean, we were small last year because, again, Ross and Madsen and Mendana were basically not available for all the year. Spot here or there, but those are 3 big dudes, and EJ's got great size, and of course he's a true freshman and developing. So it's great, to have and then Spector was not available today, as far as our practice reps. And he's another kid that you don't realize how big he is until you get up on him. So we got some big old tall redwoods out there, and got a few little good scrubs too. So we got a good group, but we're certainly excited about the personnel at that position, no doubt about it. Same thing at running back. Same thing. Excited about the guys that we have in those spots.
Hey, Dabo, David with ESPN. How did you feel about the lack of divisions last year in terms of scheduling? Basically, for you guys, it hasn't mattered at all because you've won your division every year. But for example, if you and Notre Dame had been in the same division last year and you lost the regular season game, that would have left Clemson out of an ACC championship game and potentially the playoff too. And getting two teams into the playoff, I'm sure, is good from a financial standpoint for all of you guys. Do you think that that's the way that the league should go, or are you in favor of returning back to what the norm had been?
I'm in favor of whatever the league tells us. We're going to get this team ready to go. I really don't care, to be honest with you. All I care about, that's that were the case. Hey, it is what it is. I mean, that's the same problem in a lot of leagues. We just don't play the schedule we got, divisions, however it comes about, and that's really all we're focused on.
If there's some demand from the TV side on like, hey, that this would be helpful in providing a few extra games that we would like to have on TV and might help the TV package. I mean, is it something where any little extra bit of revenue would be worth kind of considering changes to the status quo?
We got a new commissioner named Jim Phillips. Those are questions for him. Those aren't questions for Coach Swinney here at Clemson. I'm just the Tigers ready to play.
My Dabo for commissioner hats are still in full stock. If you want one, I send one down to you.
All right.
Dabo, this is Grace from The Athletic. You said earlier this week that you always knew you'd have a chance to hire CJ, but just weren't sure about the timing. What do you think makes this the right time for him right now?
He was ready. And, we talked about it, last summer, spring, and he was ready to hang them up, and that's the first time that he's been ready to do that and is really ready to commit. So he came in here and was here all last year and made a full commitment to really just kind of dive in. So that's really the biggest thing. He's a special guy, and just knowing what he's going to bring to our team and the Clemson and so forth. It's exciting, to have the opportunity to finally hire him. We talked about many times about him joining the staff. Just wasn't sure, for a while which capacity it was going to be. But he made his decision last year that he really wanted the rest of his career to be in coaching. And I was excited about that. And again, had the opportunity to come in and be a grad assistant last year and working with Masters. And so it was just great timing. And, here we go.
Hey, Dabo, this is Anna with Clemson 24/7. I guess maybe one of the benefits of not having an established pecking order right now at corner is just a lot of competition right there, even though you don't have a ton of depth. Has any of the corners maybe separated themselves a little bit? And just what are your thoughts right now on Nate Wiggins?
Nate's a really exceptional young talent. He's got a ways to go. He needs a latter half of spring and a summer in that weight room with Coach Batson. He's got to get stronger. We got several of these guys, young guys coming in that really need that aspect of their game. But he's a natural kid. He can run. He's got great length. He's got good instincts for the game. He's a tough guy. I like that. And again, he's a little light in the pants right now, but he's an outstanding young prospect. With a lot to learn. But we got good competition. Malcolm is a guy that has made great strides for us. He's probably gonna, he's got a little shoulder deal that we're gonna probably have to clean up, after spring break. And he'll probably miss the last part there, so that he's ready to go this summer. But we're excited about him and the development of Booth. Booth's having his best string of practices that he's had in any spring. Fred Davis is making great strides. I love what I've seen in him. Mario is a savvy veteran guy that really is probably more self-aware now than he's been at any point in his career. and I like that. And he gives us some versatility. You know, Mario's a guy that can play either corner spot. He's also a guy like Malcolm that can go play that nickel spot that we feel good about. You know, we need a couple of guys that can do that. So, you know, it's a good group. And Sheridan is you know, a player who's developing. You know, he had some good moments early last year, did not finish the season well, but he's a talented prospect. And just going to get better and better. You know, we have a kid named Cody Sensabaugh around here. That's kind of who he reminds me of. You know, still developing physically and developing his confidence. But he's certainly got the tools and the skill to be a really good player. And again, he's made some plays, but just didn't finish the season well. And he's eager to get back out here and compete and go have a great junior year. So, or even sophomore year, however you want to look at it. But it's a good group. We got a good group overall that compete themselves off.
Coach, was Tyson out today?
Yeah, Tyson was not available today. You know, just due to protocol.
Okay.
Dabo,
he's doing a great job.
You mentioned sort of not knowing exactly where to classify guys in terms of class, and with the essentially the free year of eligibility last year. I know some of the ADs, I guess, talked within the last couple of days. Have you gotten any more clarity about what that might mean beyond 2021?
Yeah, I have not. We've talked about it as coaches too. We actually had a big conference call meeting yesterday with all the coaches, and it's certainly something that, you know, we're all hoping that we can get some direction on that. Not just us, but all the leagues, but all the coaches. And there's a lot of discussion. Everybody understands the urgency because it impacts, you know, how you can manage your roster, and not just this year, but moving forward. And so there's been 2 or 3 proposals that they kicked around. So, you know, we'll see where it all lands, but it's definitely something that I think there's some urgency on getting some clarity on. You know, the main thing is you know, moving forward. It's not, everybody's going to get their year. That's already been decided for that group that was freshmen last year until they cycle through. The question is, how many years do we get to not have to count them in the 85? Because if you have to count them in the 85, that's you know, there's going to be some tough roster management stuff to come along with that. So we'll see, you know, how it all plays out. You know, I'm glad those guys have that option, and you know, hopefully the commissioners will get together and figure out the best way to manage it from a 85 number. You know, is it all the way through that they don't count until that group cycle through? Is it a 2 or 3 year deal, and then hopefully it settles down a little bit, you know, so we'll just have to see. Those are all good questions.
Coach, Jeremiah Trotter looks like a guy that's physically ready to play right now. What are your early impressions of him?
Yeah, going to be a great player, natural prospect. You know, he's as advertised. He's instinctive to the game. He's a naturally physical guy. You know, you say he's linebacker, but you know, there's been around some guys that even at linebacker wasn't natural for him, but he's a very natural guy, and you know, sees the game well and got one motor. I love that. Plays full speed. Again, we signed one guy, and he was the guy. And there's a reason. You know, we love his potential and what his future looks like at that position.
Hey, Coach, it's David again. Is that going to be a stadium scrimmage tomorrow? And then what are you looking for out of the scrimmage? You know, that first one of the spring is always big. So what is it that you want to accomplish?
Yeah, well, we're progressing. The first big full scrimmage where we just literally let them go play will be next Wednesday. But, you know, we've been kind of building up, you know, a lot of fundamental work, a lot of just installation and teaching, lots of competitive work, you know, whether it be crossover or you know, one-on-one, inside drill, scale 18 pass, you know, and then we've been creating a lot of situational work in practice. And then we did have a little controlled half scrimmage this past Wednesday, but it was all situational.
With Skowski being limited from contact stuff, and then Spector being out as well, who are a couple of the guys who you think have the biggest opportunities at linebacker to sort of take a step this spring?
Yeah, I mean, really all those guys, because I mean, outside of Trotter, they've all been here. They've all had at least a full year under their belt. So. But then you got those guys, that group, that redshirt freshman, redshirt sophomore group last year that, were really, Kane and McGuire, Vontae. Vontae's showing a lot of, strides. We just got Jake back today. He was in green today. We just got him back. Trenton is a guy that we've been working, inside as well. He's been working the wheel and working, the Sam also. So it's been good. And, of course, Skowski's taking a ton of reps, and he's getting all the thud stuff. But we're not letting him, when we do go live, that's the only thing he's not getting right now. But all the other team stuff, he's in there, and it's good to see him directing everything and staying sharp. But I mean, it's a big spring. I mean, I feel good about, Monte. I feel good about Kane, Sergio, Jake, and McGuire. I mean, those guys can all play. So it's very, very competitive right now. And Swint is as good a player as we got, and we're kind of cross-training him a little bit. He's a natural football player. That freshman group last year, Simpson and Swint and Sergio, three really good young prospects, and then to go along with those guys that have been around here for a couple of years. And Light is really. They've gotten some experience. They've had some success, failure, and you're starting to see a little bit of a transformation. And again, Levante, Kane, McGuire, Jake, that whole group is really showing some promise.